Safety car will begin to speed up. They're on their way through Blanchimont, or heading towards Blanchimont now here at Spa. And it will be the responsibility of the P1 and P2 cars on the front row of the grid to control the pace of the rolling lap as the safety car takes itself off into the pit lane. There is Corinna Gosner in the 173 car, qualified in P12. Right, so the rolling lap then is about to reach its conclusion, and we are about to go racing. The safety car will peel off following the bus stop turn, and then the race will be on. So as the lights go out, let's go racing then. And as I predicted, Christophe Herney was already on it right at the very start of this race. Will Eric Chung be able to squeeze him out as they go through turn number one? So turn number one they go, then Christophe Herney goes very, very wide. Eric Chung then is able to convert that P1 pole position into P1 in the race. Christophe Herney returns to P2. Thomas Gosner is up to P3, having got past James Wayland. Also having got past James Wayland is von Skeltermar. So von Skeltermar making good. And now James Wayland going to have to defend from the hard-charging lady racer Manuela Gosner. So as they head up through this Spa-Francorchamps circuit now, here lining up Eric Chung is Christophe Herney as they go into Les Combes then. And there you can see almost two abreast Tanny Hanna there with the 109 car of Ernst Kirschmeyer. And Tanny Hanna, the back end of his car, stepping out. And there is Corinna Gosner. But for the moment, Eric Chung has got it all absolutely under control. And Christophe Herney has not been able to get past. Here comes Vladimir Hladek on Eric Prinot. That's the battle that's going on for P9 at the moment. So plenty of action in the opening few meters of this race then. It is Coppa Shell from Ferrari Challenge that we're watching right now. Eric Chung, P1, Christophe Herney, P2, and it's Thomas Gosner up into P3 with von Skeltermar, P4, James Wayland relegated to P5 now. Sure enough, I don't think Tommy Lindroth did make it out onto the track then following the early dramas during the formation lap for him. So Eric Chung continues to control everything out front at the moment. So as he said in his short interview just at the start of the race then, first pole position in the European Challenge for Eric Chung here at Spa, and doing a very good job of converting that P1 into the race lead. Was under pressure right at the very start from Christophe Herney, and that pressure surely is going to ramp up because Christophe Herney comes here buoyed with the confidence of having taken the last race win at Silverstone, and he'll want to do the first race win here. Here comes James Wayland on von Skeltermar, but James Wayland now to the outside. Von Skeltermar on the inside. James Wayland can't afford to leave himself too vulnerable to Manuela Gosner. Eric Prinot and Vladimir Hladek continuing to really argue over that P9 place at the moment. So the first three cars have broken away significantly. Here comes Vladimir Hladek perhaps on the inside of Eric Prinot, but no, he's got Corinna Gosner around the outside now. He runs Corinna Gosner wide and closes the door rather ungentlemanly like, but it is racing after all. So the rest of the cars are making their way now, as you can see, through Eau Rouge, absolutely flat. And leader in the AM classification is Alexander Nussbaumer for Formula Racing. Leader in the Shell drivers is Eric Chung, as you can see, his center screen right now. The car compresses at the front end as the suspension compresses under braking. Von Skeltermar, James Wayland and Manuela Gosner pushing them for all she is worth. Eric Prenot with Tanny Hanna now. So Tanny Hanna next in the queue of cars, but here comes Vladimir Hladik once again taking a look at Eric Prenot on the inside, but was not able to go through. A little bit of dust being kicked up there from one of the drivers ahead. Eric Chung stretching his legs a little bit. The margin between himself and Christoph Herney is 7/10. And then it's about 6/10 between Christoph Herney and Thomas Gosner for P2 and P3. There is James Wayland then in the 118 car. Here comes race leader Eric Chung. There's P2, P3. Those are all breaking away from Von Skeltermar, who is running in P4 at the moment with the familiar shark's teeth on the front of his car. So Fons has got maybe another 4 cars fighting for P4 as well. And Vladimir Hladik has put himself ahead of Eric Prenot. So Vladimir Hladik has got past Eric Prenot. And Tanny Hanna, I think, has got past both of them because he's moved up. No, Tanny Hanna has actually gone down a place. You can see on the graphics now on the left-hand side, the big winner at the start of the race, Von Skeltermar, moving up 4 places. Thomas Gosner moving up 1. And Von Skeltermar now defending hard against James Wayland as they make their way into the bus stop chicane, turns 18 and 19 once again, and put another lap in the book. There you can see Vladimir Hladik now ahead of Eric Prenot. Eric Prenot has got his teammate Corinna Gosner right behind him. Manuela Gosner showing her face to the inside now of James Wayland. Is there going to be... She's not quite close enough to be able to get to the inside through La Source. And waiting all the time to take advantage is Ernst Kirschmeyer. Here comes James Wayland on Von Skeltermar. Ernst Kirschmeyer on Manuela Gosner as they make their way down to Eau Rouge now. Von Skeltermar through, taking plenty of curb, grass and bits of dust as well to straighten that turn as much as he possibly can and carry as much speed. But now getting a tow off the back of the Von Skeltermar car is James Wayland. Will he go outside or in? Looks to the inside now. Von Skeltermar blocks and defends, which is his right to so do. James Wayland now alongside Von Skeltermar. Fons with the momentum, and again, James Wayland can't afford to leave himself too vulnerable to Manuela Gosner. For the moment, Von Skeltermar is able to breathe a sigh of relief and just try and get up the road just a little bit from Manuela Gosner. Manuela Gosner is having to defend against the 109 car of Ernst Kirschmeyer for the Baron service team. This really is a fight, and you can see the back end of Eric Prenot's car stepping out there, and Corinna Gosner nearly able to take advantage of that. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars really all in this train behind Von Skeltermar. So I'm not going to say it's a 7-way fight for P4, but there's certainly 5 cars that are really on that battle for P4. They include James Wayland, Manuela Gosner, Ernst Kirschmeyer and Tanny Hanna as well. And Tanny Hanna is coming under some pressure from that driver now. 144 Vladimir Hladik, who's hard charging, having got past Eric Prenot. Next in his target sights is the car of Kirschmeyer. So here is Von Skeltermar, who has shown a clean pair of heels thus far to James Wayland, and has opened up 4 or 5 car lengths over James Wayland, and it's never looked this good for Von Skeltermar in terms of the pace that he's been able to put down and escape from the clawing grasps of those cars behind. Manuela Gosner now looking at James Wayland. This is the reason that James's pace has dropped. He is having to think about defending from the car that is behind, and that car is Manuela Gosner. Teammate Eric Prenot there in car number 181, running in P10. There's Skeltermar, P4. And as you can see, oh, up the inside goes Manuela Gosner. Makes contact with James Wayland. Well, and there's damage to James Wayland's car. He's going to have to retire. Manuela Gosner up the inside, and also around has gone Dusan Palkra. Now, Dusan Palkra, that's a really odd position for Dusan's car to be in. Is he going to be able to recover it from there? He just lost the back end, I think, coming out of out of the bus stop, but it's a great shame. It's going to be a race retirement for James Wayland. And Tanny Hanna also on the 109 car of Ernst Kirschmeyer there. I think for my money, Manuela came from too far back. And as James went to turn in, he never in a million years thought that the car of Manuela Gosner was going to be there. And there you can see the turnaround for Dusan Palkra that we saw. So Fonzie's partner looks on, and Fonzie's just escaping up the road, as you can see. So great shame retirement for James Wayland with damage to the car. That means he's out of the hunt now as we look at the 120 car of Ford Guy, the Scuderia FMA driver, who is running in P12 at the Mo. Alexander Nussbaumer then is leader of the AMS, who's running in P11 in the race overall. Eric Prenot. Now, I thought Vladimir Hladic was ahead of Eric Prenot. He was, so Eric Prenot has found his way past Vladimir Hladic. There you can see, definitely Eric Prenot is now ahead of Vladimir Hladic, so he's overtaken him at some point, somewhere on the track, which we've not seen. There's the race leader, Eric Chung. There is P2, Christoph Herney. 2:28.169, the fastest lap coming from Christoph Herney. But he is being chased down by Thomas Gosner, a turn of speed that Thomas Gosner is in unfamiliar colours of Thomas Gosner, normally in the orange and black car, but using, I guess, Son David's car this weekend, which is the all-red car, as Eric Chung puts another lap in the book then as he leads this racing car number 198. We're about a third of the race done. Through La Source they come. There is Christoph Herney in P2, and then Thomas Gosner in P3. So downhill section, take plenty of curb on the in and the out through Eau Rouge, climbing up all the time through Radion, and then onto the Kemmel Straight. Comes Eric Chung now. We've lost James Wayland and Tommy Lindroth from the race thus far. And Eric Chung through the speed trap at 273 kilometers per hour here at Spa-Francorchamps. You're watching the Coppa Shell drivers in the Ferrari Challenge, made up of a mix of Shell and AM drivers and lady racers as well. The 120 car of Ford Guy there. There you can see Eric Prenot ahead of Vladimir Hladic, then Corinna Gosner. And then it is Ford Guy that we mentioned just a few moments ago. But at the moment, there's nothing on our screen to say anything is untoward. So the Coppa Shell drivers continue as we're just about reaching half distance in the race thus far. And Laurent Demoux then, the local driver. I say local by dint of birthplace here in Belgium. Running in P5. There is Tina Koch on the back of that pack of 4 cars, if you like. The lady racer in car number 100, who had first full season in the Ferrari Challenge in 2017, and this is her first appearance in the Ferrari Challenge for 2018. So Eric Prenot now putting the pressure on Ernst Kirschmeyer ahead. There is Corinna Gosner, sister to Manuela. And Eric Prenot just diving up the inside of Ernst Kirschmeyer there, but not quite close enough. There is Tanny Hanna, who's, again, he's sort of out on his own, really, not being able to chase Manuela Gosner too much at the moment. And in the meantime, there's von Skeltermar and Manuela Gosner in that battle for P4. There's just 3 tenths between the two of them. So von Skeltermar, if you've been watching the Ferrari Challenge series, you will recall that von Skeltermar made his way past Manuela Gosner in the final race at Silverstone. So Manuela would really like to replay the compliment now by wrestling away that place from von Skeltermar, one would assume, and getting ever closer to be able to potentially achieve that, perhaps. So Manuela Gosner, the lady racer, who really has come into her own this year and has shown some really good racecraft and really good pace as well. So Chung, Herney, Gosner, then it's Skeltermar, and then Manuela Gosner in the green and black livery, running in P5 at the moment, with Tanny Hanna a distant P6 at the moment, several car lengths behind Manuela Gosner and Fons Skeltermar here fighting over P4. But of course, the more these two fight, as Manuela goes to the outside of Fons Skeltermar now, and does Manuela Gosner manage to go through? She's not going to be able to make the chicane, so not. It was a bold and ambitious move by Manuela, and one that didn't pay off. But what it will do is, of course, will reassure, if reassurance was necessary, that Fons has got to be on his toes here, because Manuela is trying to come through. So late braking into that bus stop chicane didn't work, but what it has done is just made sure that Fons is aware that Manuela wants to come through. The gap was closing as Manuela went through it, then unable to brake sufficiently, and Fons Skeltermar with the better line going into the bus stop chicane was untroubled by that overtake move from Manuela Gosner. Out front, Eric Chung with 1.4 seconds of margin over Christoph Herney in P2. So P1, P2 and P3 all spread out about evenly, to be truthful. So not much of a battle going on there. The battle really is going on for P4 behind, between Fons Skeltermar and Manuela Gosner. And you can't even see them into the picture because these cars have broken away by about 12 seconds, can you believe, over that fight that's going on for P4. In replay then, this is a car having gone around. It is the 120 car of 4 Guy. Oh, and big damage for Vladimir Hladik. This for sure is going to have to be a safety car because of where that Vladimir Hladik car is. It'll be more than just a yellow flag. I feel sure that the safety car will be deployed, which is going to bunch everyone back up. Hopefully we'll see what has happened here to Vladimir Hladik, but significant damage to the Vladimir Hladik car. So let's just see if we pick that up in replay, but I'm sure they're going to have to throw a safety car for this. So, oh, and Vladimir Hladik all on his own. Oh, just lost the back end of the car, connects with the wall, huge damage to the front. Sure enough, safety car is being called for. What that's going to do, that's going to bunch them all up significantly. Well, the integral safety in these Ferrari 488 Challenge cars is great, and just hope that Vladimir Hladik is okay. Sat having lunch with him just an hour and a half or so ago. Vladimir Hladik then all on his own, just crunched into the concrete wall, and unfortunately those concrete walls don't give at all. So safety car has been called for. I was saying just before that incident, 12 seconds the top 3 drivers had built up effectively over the next battle for P4. Well, all of a sudden that margin they had has been reduced to virtually 0. As you can see, because Fons Skeltermar now will be on the back of Thomas Gosner, Manuela Gosner and Tanny Hanna will be rubbing his hands with invisible soap, thinking he can buy into this battle as well, potentially. And how long the safety car is going to be out, because a safety car lap here is a blooming long lap. Well, thankfully, it appears that Vladimir Hladik is all okay, which is the best news of all. Of course, we want to make sure he's fine. As I said, the integral safety of these 488 Challenge cars. I remember having a long conversation with Marc Genet, the driver who had an awful lot of influence into the design of the 488 Challenge car, and right at the top of every single priority list in the design of the 488 Challenge car was safety. So here in replay then, the start of the race, and you can see James Wayland being squeezed there, and whilst being squeezed by Thomas Gosner, that actually caused James Wayland to run into Manuela Gosner. So a lot of cars making haste their escape around the outside of that little incident that was going on through La Source. And this was Manuela Gosner's effort at overtaking Fons Skeltermar and getting some payback for race 2 at Silverstone, but it didn't pay off, and Fons Skeltermar was able to make the turn which Manuela really had to brake, and missed the best potential way through that turn, and subsequently didn't manage to make that overtake, although she'll feel that another opportunity has been gifted to her now, potentially by this safety car. So Murat Kuadaroglu there, and really out of shape it would appear, is the 199 car. The 199 car is driven by Ingvar Mattsson, who's taken 2 wins in the AM classification and is P4 in the AMs at the moment. Super slow-mo of our race leader, Eric Chung, then, the leader of the Shell drivers. And the leader of the AM drivers is Alexander Nussbaumer, with Agatha Smolka running in P2. Great showing from Agatha Smolka in P2. So Alexander Nussbaumer then, as I said, the leader in the AMs. And it'd be great to see Aggie up on the podium. So cars being led around by the safety car. And as I say, it's a long lap around here, but it's going to be quite a moment of recovery for the Vladimir Hladik car, because it's going to have to be picked up. Then there was an awful lot of fluid on the track, which was spreading across the track. They're going to want to try and sweep that away as best they can before they allow the cars to go racing. I mean, there's 9 minutes on the clock, which ordinarily you would say is more than adequate time for that to all be sorted. But the problem is, from my side, in my opinion, you know, if it's just timed wrong and the safety car is in the wrong place when they decide that it's okay for the safety car to come in, for example, if it's just going down the hill towards Eau Rouge, that means another entire lap behind the safety car. And a lap here is a long one. So we will see what happens. The most important thing and the most important news is the fact that we've seen Vladimir Hladik out of the car, and Vladimir Hladik looked absolutely okay, although the car itself looked really rather damaged, didn't it? The front end had really compressed up against that concrete. Must have hit at a fair speed. So Hublot safety car then leading these cars around this 7.004 kilometer circuit. And Eric Chung, who'd done a great job out front, unfortunately, the margin he had over Christoph Herney has been reduced to 0 as well. So here in replay, it is the challenge show. It's not a replay. Enjoy the challenge show for a few moments. So cars lined up behind the safety car, and with 6.5 minutes left to run, and the recovery all underway, we are led to believe. We might get away with 1, maybe 2 racing laps before the end of the race. Yeah, it's probably only going to be 1, isn't it? At the moment, behind the safety car, it's taken 5 minutes to do a lap. So, yeah, you're right. It's going to be maximum of 1. I say you're right. I'm talking about Nico alongside me, my colleague here, who keeps his eye on the timing screen and every other screen that he possibly can. So it is going to be maximum one lap. Failing that, the race will finish behind the safety car, which will be something of a damp squib given the exciting racing that we've had. There we are. In the meantime, the drivers, of course, still trying to maintain some temperature into those well-worn tyres, as Christian Berchinger from the Octane 126 team, and I think that's Fabian Volvend alongside him, look on. Fabian Volvend racing in the Trofeo Pirelli class of Ferrari Challenge. Octane 126 with the Leonard Winterholder car. And of course, Rick Lovett in the 112 car. In fact, Leonard Winterholder didn't make it to this weekend in the event. Where is Rick Lovett for running down there in P12 behind Agata Smolka, and it will be a very good finish for Agata Smolka if it stays this way, because she's P2 in the AMS. Will be her best finish. No, it will equal her best finish. She took a P2 in AMS in Mugello in the second race. I beg your pardon. Forgive me, Aggie. So no indication yet in terms of when the lights are coming out on the safety car. Comes show cam part 2. So we are just looking at where the cars are. They're just approaching the bus stop chicane now. And as they cross the timing line, the last lap, it took them 5 minutes to complete behind the safety car. We've got 2 minutes 19 on the clock. This race ain't going to do another lap. I don't think it is going to finish behind the safety car, which is a dreadful shame. But we have no indications that the safety cars even, this is being declared as the last lap. So it will be, with no overtaking behind the safety car, it will finish the way the cars are situated, or the positions that the cars are situated in at the moment. So it will be a P1 for Eric Chung. It'll be a P2 for Christoph Herney. And for Thomas Gostner, it will be a P3, which is a supreme result for Thomas Gostner, matching his 2 P3s that he took in the opening round at Mugello. Sure enough, then, on the final lap, as the graphics at the top of the screen indicate right now, it means, of course, that von Skeltermar will confirm that P4 place. P5 will be confirmed for Manuela Gostner. P6 will go the way of Eric Prinot, and P7 will be Ernst Kirschmeyer in the 109 car. His debut weekend in the Ferrari Challenge. P8 will be Eric Prinot. Because P6 is Tanny Hanna. I said Eric Prinot earlier. Losing the plot, am I not? Corinna Gostner will be P9 and P10, but P1 in his class will be Alexander Nussbaumer. to his win in the opening race at Silverstone. P2 in the AMS will be Garta Smolka in car number 186. And P3 in the AMS will be Murat Kuhadaroglu. So just a replay of the preparations going on right at the start of the race. So a great shame that the race has to end this way. I don't think it was the damage necessarily, or the recovery rather, of the car, but as Nico alongside me has suggested, more likely the fluid that was all over the track as a result of that compression of the front end of the car. Which would have to be cleared up. So, never like to see a race end behind the safety car, but that's what's going to happen. Just running out of time to be able to do anything about that. There's Corinna Chung then, who will be delighted that her husband will take the win. In the 198 car that you can see center screen now, almost parked on the gearbox of the safety car. So the stream of 488 challenge cars then heading towards the finish line behind the safety car, which will bring the race to a close. And the checkered flag awaits for Eric Chung, who takes the win. Sorry, seemingly lacking any enthusiasm for that checkered flag moment, but Eric Chung, Christoph Herney and Thomas Gosner, the 1, 2, 3, with von Skeltermar, Manuela Gosner and Tanny Hanna then taking the positions through to P5. And then the P3 in the AMS is Alexander Nussbaumer, Agata Smolka and Murat Kuhadaroglu. So the cars then are taken back to the paddock area, and the podium ceremony will be got underway. Perhaps without the enthusiasm ordinarily that we would have, because the race is finished behind the safety car. But there we are. Let's have a look at the challenge show for now. Eric Chung then is congratulated. And Corinna then, his wife, Green, his wife, congratulates. Alexander Nussbaumer then wins in the AM classification. It's his second win, congratulated by Jens Liebhauser. He races in the Trofeo Pirelli. Steady on, Eric, who was on the roof of his car. Racing, of course, for the Formula Racing team, who have had a great deal of success in the Ferrari Challenge. So Eric Chung, Christoph Herney, Thomas Goester in the Shell drivers, and in the AM drivers, Alexander Nussbaumer, Agata Smolka, well done on P2, and then P3, Murat Kuhadaroglu. Let's take a look at the highlights of that race. So the tension was great then as the cars headed towards turn number 1. James Wayland and Manuela Gosner getting very close together. Christoph Herney running wide, but able to reclaim that P2 position and get the chase on to Eric Chung. So he needed to get it done in the early stages of the race. Tani Hanna was looking lively in a battle with Ernst Kirschmeyer, and Manuela Gosner and James Wayland continued to get very close together. And unfortunately for James Wayland, it would cause damage to the car, which meant a race retirement. So the Ken Sato car involved in that fight with Dusan Palkra, and here came Manuela Gosner on von Skeltermar. It wasn't going to work, unfortunately, and this was Vladimir Hladik connecting with the concrete wall, which lifted the car off the ground. Thankfully, Vladimir Hladik all perfectly okay. That brought out the safety car, and unfortunately the race would end behind the safety car with Eric Chung as the winner in the Shell category, and with Alexander Nussbaumer the winner in the AMS. And it's a really rather deflated checkered flag then as the cars cross the line to the checkered flag, of course, behind the safety car.